And first we have Pedro Adão, a professor at IST. Let's give him a round of applause.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming. So first, apologies for being late. It was due to the bad weather. And also just to put the record straight, I see here several first-year students, so there's no extra credit for the data structures course just for attending this, okay? What am I going to talk about today? So for those that don't know, so we have a CTF team here at Técnico. And so basically the idea that I had for this presentation is to talk about it. So hacking systems is illegal, period, is illegal, you go to jail. But imagine that you want to be a security professional. Imagine that you want to train hard. Imagine that someone gives you a new challenge every single week that you can legitimately hack, meaning you don't go to jail for doing it. And imagine that whenever you cannot do it, someone later will tell you and teach you how to do it. Would this make you a better professional? Okay? Would you pay more attention to the details? Would this contribute for a better security ecosystem for the society? Okay? This talk is not about CTF. So this talk is about learning and how CTF environment and being competitive will help us and drive us to learn more. Okay? So just a short biography. So I'm Pedro Adão. I'm a professor at the Computer Science Department here at Técnico. I'm also a researcher at Instituto de Telecomunicações. And I did most of my, I did all my studies in mathematics. So I'm original for mathematics. I started studying security even during my bachelor. And then when I finished my PhD in security, I became a professor at the Computer Science Department. So since 2014, I also mentored the security team from Técnico. So the security team, we call ourselves STT. It's a competitive CTF team. And by competitive, I mean that there's a world ranking. Like any other sport, there's a world ranking. And we rank in the top 50 currently, worldwide. And the teams that participate here are not only academic teams, but also professionals. Professionals that practice every single day on their job and learn how to do new things. And if we just restrict ourselves to the academic teams, we rank in the top 20. So we can claim that we are 20 in the world among academic teams. I'm also known as the Lord Commander, just because I run the show, okay? Not this guy, this one, okay? Basically, why do I like it and why I think that it's important for us to teach this? More than 10 years ago, Butler Lampson published a paper that basically was discussing computer security in real world. And basically, the question was, we have been studying security for so long. Why do we continue to do it wrong? Okay? Why do systems in service today continue to be vulnerable to attacks? Okay? And the main reason is that they are expensive, it's difficult to run them, and basically the clients don't want to the overhead on how much it costs to put it up. Okay? And basically he also claims that people try to get as little as possible and just still manage to do it. So basically because it's tough to do and we don't do it right, usually. But the thing that, the sentence that I stress the most is that he also says, and this is also my feeling, is that we have been doing a lot of good research in this field. And just list a few at the top. But the securities of millions of systems, okay, continues to be terrible, okay? And terrible in the sense that if you have a sufficiently competent hacker with sufficient determination, he is able to usually get into the systems. And so basically the attacker that we are trying, the attacker that we are trying to protect from is someone that is really determined. He has a huge determination, and he learned as much as he could to do it, okay? So there's this site called cvdetails.com that is run by MITRE, where people submit basically whenever there's a known vulnerability, they publish there And usually there's a period before being public that the companies have time to patch the system, and only after being patched, it becomes public. But if you see, so there's a huge number of vulnerabilities, and I don't want to discuss the particular products, but basically this is the evolution since 1999. And we see in red, there's a peak in 2017. And if we see, we are not yet done with February, and we are already with 2,300 vulnerabilities reported just for these 2 months. So clearly, there are lots of vulnerabilities that are communicated every single year, and these are the ones that are communicated. There might be many more that are just not disclosed, okay? Either by companies that patch them before they become a vulnerability and exploit it, or just by some bad guy that is trying to exploit it. However, all these vulnerabilities, they are not all equal, right? So basically, some vulnerabilities are more dangerous than others. And there's also a ranking or a code that you can color them according to the impact that they have. For instance, just because there's a vulnerability that allows you to run remote code on a computer, it doesn't mean that it's exploitable. Or it might be just exploitable by the NSA. So if you start considering the NSA as the primary attacker that you want to defend from, then probably you have an endless work, right? So you'll never stop, right? So eventually, if the only attacker that can deploy the attack is the NSA, probably is not as bad as if anyone could just download the script from the net and run from any computer on the web. Okay, and here they also rank by type of vulnerabilities, and you can also list this. Okay, so the point is, if you just do the math, there is around 40 new vulnerabilities every single day. Okay, clearly we are not doing a good job. 40 vulnerabilities per day. Imagine that your factory or whatever does 40 bugs every single day that are bad, okay? So traditional methods that have been used clearly seem to be insufficient to help us in this. So clearly the attackers have been winning this war, okay, arguably. You may argue, okay, they just find 40 per day, okay? They don't find 400,000. But anyway, 40 new software vulnerabilities per day, it's huge. So can we do better, okay? How can we do better? Can we just change our mindset? Are we defending ourselves in the correct way? Okay, and so basically, how can we develop security skills? Here I'm particularly interested in securities here from Técnico, okay? And how ultimately we can develop and have better security professionals, okay? So the thing I use usually is the castle, but today I don't have a castle, I have a palace, okay? So what I'm claiming is that this should be one step ahead, okay? And what do I mean by one step ahead? If you look at this palace, there are several doors and several windows. So if you want to protect yourself, probably you'll put a guard or 2 or 3 in every single door, and you also defend every single window. That's pretty much what companies do. They look at where the attacker can enter, and they just invest a lot of money and a lot of effort and a lot of manpower trying to secure that perimeter. The thing is that the adversary is not going to try to enter through the door. Of course, defending the door is important, because if no one is at the door, the attacker will just go through. But the thing is that the adversary just will quickly look at the door and see if someone is there, and if there's someone there, he will not even try to go through the door. And so the adversary will invest all this time in a small breach that he can explore, and that the company or whoever is defending did not fix. So the adversary is really, really looking at tiny, tiny, tiny windows that he can go through. And so the thing is, can we do this before the adversary? How can we do this? Okay? And so basically, that's what I would like to do here. That's what I wanted to do here at IST. Can I teach the students to look from the eyes of the attacker? Can they look at the problem first and get there first? Because if you can get there first, if you can get there before the attacker, then problem solved. Okay, so basically what I want to do is, do we have enough students from IST interested in doing this? Okay. Can we learn a lot? And of course, it has to be in a simulated environment. So clearly, there is a huge ethical foundation here. So as I said, it was almost my first sentence. Hacking into systems is illegal, okay? And you go to jail, okay? Just to make it clear again. And I'm the first one to say that if I know that any of my students is doing something that is not legal, I'll be in the first row in the court just to put them into jail. Okay? So basically what I want to do is, can we learn in an ethical, responsible way, and can we just have fun? Okay, and how can we have fun? Let's explore exercises every single day. Okay? So first of all, what this talk is not about, okay? It's not about Mr. Robot. Disclaimer, I've never seen a single episode of Mr. Robot, okay? But I've seen trailers, and I'm just impressed how fast that guy does something that it takes me a week to do, okay? So clearly, these skills take a lot of time to learn. And it's not that you learn and then you run it in 2 seconds. No, it really, really takes a lot of time to learn, okay? It's not also about creating the next Darth Vader, okay? So clearly, you can argue that, oh, we are just creating an army of stormtroopers to do the bad thing, but the goal here is really to do the opposite, okay? The goal here is to try to master the Force, okay? I still saw the 4th, 5th, and 6th episode. So you master the Force, and learn how to do the things and use it for good, okay? So if you can do it, then probably you can have an army of non-stormtroopers. Well, I don't know the Jedi equivalent for the stormtroopers, but basically that would be the idea. Can we do it? And this requires tough work, okay? So this is a picture from one competition that we played. I don't know exactly which one, but basically we stick in this room. We start at, competitions usually run for 48 hours, from 0 a.m. on Saturday until midnight on Sunday. And usually we are there from 9 in the morning of Saturday until whenever very late at night, and then we resume on Sunday. So really, really a lot of hours of training, okay? So just to give you context where it all started, so it's not my idea. In fact, I was mid-2013, I was in Venice working with some colleagues, doing some very theoretical paper. And so I was there for a full week, and Friday afternoon, Ricardo, my host, asked me, do you have something to do tonight? And I thought, well, other than finding another restaurant in Venice to have dinner, nice restaurants, by the way, I don't have anything else to do. And I said, oh, so why don't you stay with us and play a CTF? It will run from 6 p.m. until 2 in the morning. I had nothing to do, so I said, yeah, I'll stay around. And basically, it was what is called an attack defense CTF that we'll go through in a few slides. So basically, I stayed with them. I knew nothing, really nothing. I knew cryptography, a lot of cryptography, but I knew nothing about everything else. And basically, I stayed with them, and I had a lot of fun. And I had a lot of fun, and we were 15 to 20 in the room, Ricardo plus his students, and they were having a lot of fun. And they were learning a lot. And they were learning how to do new things. And so, immediately after that, I said, well, that would be a good thing to do in Lisbon. I can do it eventually. I just have to learn how to do these tricks and teach my students, okay? So basically, a few months later, I pitched this idea to some colleagues, saying, what do you think about this? And the first topic that came through was really the ethical part. And that was the only one that I was sure what I was going to do. I was going to basically every single week, every single meeting, just tell you, you have to have a ethical behavior. You cannot do bad things. If you do, I send you to jail. So that was the part that I knew how to do. You really, really have to have a strong ethical commitment here. Then the rest was just practical implementation. So who is going to teach what and when are we going to meet? So basically I thought, well, it should not be difficult. I've been teaching in IST for more than 10 years. I can teach this. So let's go. And so basically in the beginning of the next year, I went to a course in security-related courses, right? So network security and software security. And basically, I invited the students to join, okay? So I put up a retro theme and say, who wants to hack? And I thought, this is the pitch. I'm going to get all of them in, okay? Looking at the subtitle has exactly the main point, ethically responsible. By the way, I don't like the hacking term just because it's usually identified to bad things, okay? Rarely you say that the hacker did something good, okay? Unless you are talking about hardware. So I avoid the term hacker, but anyway, it's always a good pitch to use it. And basically, I had this slide that, look how cool it is, a lot of money. So in 2014, the market was worth whatever that big number is. And it will just increase 50% in 5 years. Look, there's a lot of money to do here. Then, another thing that if you read, you notice is that these skills usually are not learned in class. These skills are usually learned either in forums, YouTube, reading papers, reading posts, reading CVs. That's how you learn it. And also, there's a huge demand. I don't know if you have gone through the companies that are here that work in security. All of them want to hire you. And if you are good, they want to hire you even more, okay? So do you want to have a good salary? So that was the pitch. And basically, so I went through this, and as a corollary, I would like to, if we are really good, eventually we'll have IST in the top of this ranking, okay? Can we do it or not, okay? And eventually you can create products like this guy here that created a product a few years ago and probably now is rich, the product that is called Facebook, okay? And he also did this with some friends. So can we eventually make really a lot of money out of this? So basically I invited everyone. So the group is open, and just for the reason that it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of work, and you only stay if you really, really want. So usually, 50 people sign up in the beginning of the year, and probably after the second meeting, probably we have 20, okay? So 30 already gave up, because it's really, 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 really difficult, okay? And then, so I wanted to meet regularly, like training, right? Ronaldo also trains every single day, right? How many hours does Ronaldo put into his training? Participate in CTF. My original proposal, okay, let's do it twice per semester. And then I wanted someone to do my job, okay? So basically I wanted to do mostly nothing, just enjoy and participate, and coordinate all the bureaucracies, guide the development, learn and teach new tricks, and also participate in competitions. I also wanted to have fun. It turns out that I was completely wrong here, okay? Besides the coordinator, the bureaucracies, that the only thing that I still do, and I have fun, okay, and I participate. I don't teach much. They teach each other, and I don't guide their development because they just learn whatever they want. So it's very tough to learn. And again, a quote, right, that with great power comes great responsibility, right? So eventually this is not the uncle of Peter Parker that quoted this. It's much older, more 200 years earlier, but anyway. So great power comes great responsibility, and the idea was the ethics. So I think hacking is really borderline legal. In my view, it's really illegal, okay? And if you look at the law that rules this field, it's very dubious what is legal. So my rule of thumb usually is it mine? No. Is it public? No. Is from someone else that allow you and grant you permission to do it? No. So don't even touch it. You can then argue in court if something is public and whatnot, but just if it's not yours, if you don't own it, if you did not ask for permission and it was granted explicitly, then you should not touch it. Just here a disclaimer. So yesterday I wanted to make here some nice presentation. So I asked permission from the organization to try to hack the SINFO site. Of course, by doing this, I was just basically giving up, showing up my cards, right? I was saying I'm going to hack into your system. And it was just for the fun of it. I was just going to try to, I don't know, change a picture or whatever. Just something that was completely innocent. And I just did not do it. So I asked permission first and told them that I would just help them. If I would find a vulnerability, I would help them fix, okay? We did not have much time, so we saw some things, but nothing that was critical, okay? So hacking is borderline, is illegal, but knowledge is not, okay? And the thing is that if you look at the locksmith, right? Some guy that works in Chaves do Arieiro, right? So that guy, he knows how to open a lock without a key. So he can just break into every single house, right? And he does not do it, right? He does not do it. But he knows how to do it. And he does not go arrested just for knowing how to open locks, okay? In fact, some other non-professionals know how to open locks, okay? So basically, this, in spite of always telling you that there's a ethical behind it, also, each of us is responsible for his own behavior. So I'm not 24 hours supervising what you are doing. So it might happen that while I'm not supervising, you do some bad things. But honestly, I hope you do not. Okay, and then we immediately wanted to participate. Okay, so who knows what a CTF is? Okay, these guys know. So what is a CTF? So basically, I've been talking about CTF. What is a CTF? So CTF stands for capture the flag. And the goal is always to try to retrieve some secret. There are two kinds of CTFs, and we participate in both. There's the Jeopardy Ctf. So this is from this week's CTF. So basically, the Jeopardy is the kind of CTF where the organization puts up 30 challenges, and every single team has to solve the 30 challenges. So every single team participates against the organization. Okay? So these challenges are really put up to be attacked. So basically, we knew about this CTF rather late. So in fact, it was running for 3 days, and we were only aware of it with 12 hours to go. So this is basically how the points of the teams, of the top 10 teams evolved during the CTF. And basically, we just have that huge derivative that I guess with 2 more hours probably we would be at the top. Okay? So clearly, we have been doing good. So what kind of problems do we have? So problems range from all these fields, okay? Cryptography. So usually it's not breaking cryptography. It's usually some cryptography that is wrongly used, and with that there's a vulnerability associated. Can you exploit it, okay? So exploitation. So what is exploitation? Exploitation is, imagine there's some service running on a machine, and you try to exploit either overflows or race conditions or running commands in the machine that you should not, okay? Web is all that is related with web attacks, SQL injection, so retrieving data from databases or stealing cookies, etc. Reverse engineering, so reverse engineering basically is bringing the process backwards. For instance, when you have your Windows key, right? You put in your Windows key, it computes a function, and in the end, a very complex function. And in the end, it has to give a given value. If it does not, then the license is rejected, right? So what are the numbers that after that complex function will give the correct result? If you can find those numbers, it means that you're reverse engineering the function, okay? And then forensics. And forensics means, suppose that you have you know that some data is being exfiltrated from your network. You have all the packets that flew through the network. Can you get what was exfiltrated? Or there's an image. There's some message encoded in an image. Can you get that message through? Okay? Sometimes it's just pure guessing. Usually that's what the guys from web complain. Web is usually pure guessing. And so while we have, so we don't have anyone that is a specialist in all the fields. Usually you master 1 or 2. If you are good, eventually 3. We don't have anyone, for instance, that's good at web and cryptography, for instance. It doesn't happen. Well, at least in our team. So basically, that's what happens. So typical challenges, okay? So this would be, a very simple. In fact, whoever did this year's software security course, this was from one of the tests, the question. So what could you do here? So imagine that this is running on a server, right? That is just getting the name of the folder, and basically is just listing the name of the folder, right? So this is apparently an innocent process. It's just listing the content of the folder. However, you are controlling whatever the system is listing, right? So you can just put the name of the folder, semicolon, cat, etc. password, and you just get all the passwords, for instance. So clearly, there's a command injection here. So you can just control whatever. The adversary controls the string that is given as input, this folder name, so you can just run it. Okay. For instance, web. This is the most simple case. You have a web form where you request a user and a password. And basically, you are trying to authenticate the user. Okay, so basically, you just create the query. You look for every user with that username and the password that was given. And basically, if it returns the line of that user, you successfully log in. If there's no user with such password, basically it returns empty and you don't log in. Okay, can you bypass this? And one way to bypass this is, since you control this part, you can just put this up as comments. And for instance, you can just do what is called an SQL injection. So basically, you bypass the testing of the password, okay? And then there's the attack defense CTF, okay? Some of the guys here are here in the audience. So attack defense is a different thing. So attack defense usually starts, it's a simple thing. The organization gives a virtual machine equal to 500 teams. All of you connect to a VPN, and in these ones, you don't attack the organization. You attack the other teams. So every 2 minutes, you launch an exploit against 500 other teams, and the 500 other teams launch an exploit against you. Okay? So usually it's very quiet at the beginning. At the end, it's just chaotic what's going on. And then we have also some infrastructure. Well, there's a password there. I think that was the craziest password that we ever picked, that we could not even install stuff because we could just not remember the password. And so the scoreboard is no longer how many points you scored per challenge, but how many secrets you were able to steal from all the other teams. And that's what is called the attack points and the defense points, okay? So basically, you have to prevent others from stealing your secrets, and you can attack others to steal their secrets, okay? So attack defense is basically same thing as Jeopardy, plus all the systems administration part, okay? And it's live, okay? Okay, so revisiting the goals and to see if we manage to do this. So teach computer security in an ethical and responsible and competitive environment. I think we have been successful in teaching security. Companies look at us and ask us for manpower. So clearly they believe that we are doing a good job. So gathering a group of motivated students. So this was my first, what I was the most afraid. Can I get enough students to do this? And in fact, 4 are still around. 1, 2, at least in the room, okay? The other 2 I don't see in the room, okay? So these 4 are still around. By the way, that one was not in that picture. I just put in for the sake of completeness. And so this is usually what happens by dinner time, okay? So we just order pizzas, and we just discuss what's going on, okay? So this is, again, from our very first CTF. meeting twice a month for training, okay? So we meet twice a month for 90 minutes for training, and this should be just the beginning. So Ronaldo practices every single day. If any of you has done any kind of sports in some sort of competitive way, you probably did not practice once a week. Probably you practice every single day, okay? And eventually more than 1 hour. Okay? So and if you say, oh, but Ronaldo has to run, think about a chess player, okay? For instance, Garry Kasparov, how many hours did he practice per day? He was not running. Of course, he was also exercising a lot. Chess seems to be a quiet thing, but they really also do a lot of physical training. Anyway, but so this takes a lot of hours to do, okay? Participate in CTFs twice per semester. Could we do it, okay? So again, so this was 9:30, very first CTF, 2014. By the end of the day, we were already a bit tired. This is not from the same CTF, but this was some calculation that someone got exhausted and basically after this could not do anything else for the next 3 hours, okay? Pizzas, that's what we do a lot. We always order pizza, and basically one more competition. And here we see the board, right? So the board is also where we keep track of what we are doing. So we write on the board the challenges, how much they are worth, and we also keep track how many solutions each problem has, so that we can in some way optimize our solutions. This was at the end, I guess, Google CTF probably, or something like that. And, well, more. Okay, so how many CTFs we participated? Could we make 2 per semester? So this, I think, is the reason for our success. Okay? By the way, you no longer, so this ranking, you cannot brute force. You cannot get higher just because you participate in all the CTFs. Only the 10 best count, okay? So even if you participate in 42, 32 are just dropped, that do not count for your ranking. But anyway, so this is the reason. So this is the reason, it's because this group of students is putting a lot of hours studying this, a lot of hours working on this, okay? And this is the reason of our success. Of course, this 42, we don't meet in those rooms for this 42. So usually we meet physically to play, well, let's say once a month, eventually twice a month. But every single weekend someone goes on Slack, we have a Slack to share the information, and say, why don't we participate on this CTF? I just registered the team, here are the credentials, just let's participate. So some of these 42 teams have 3 participants, 2, okay? Whoever was crazy to participate that weekend, okay? Then I also had this goal of having someone other than me doing the hard job, okay? And this is the sad part, okay? I could not get anyone doing this anyway, but just for the sake of the success, I keep doing it, okay? And having fun. I believe that we are having a lot of fun, so this is our Chinese infiltrate that is not around yet, I guess. At least I've not seen him. Okay, how successful have we been? So you might ask, okay, you participate a lot. How successful have you been? So currently, we consistently rank in the top 50 in the CTFs. Okay? Sometimes we rank top 20, and some others top 10. It's really tough. It's really, really tough. Because sometimes you are almost solving 2 or 3 challenges that you could just not get that final step. And for that, you cannot get into the top 10. And probably you will not get even to the top 20. So usually when we finish in the top 10 are those competitions where at the end, we look around and say, which problems were we almost solving? And the answer is none. So we were able to solve all the problems that we worked on, not all the existing problems. And also, there are some international competitions. So, by the way, all of these are international, but some of them are on site. So you have really to travel there. And usually, those are preceded by qualifications. And we were lucky last year to participate in Volga Ctf. So that was in Russia, in Samara, somewhere near Kazakhstan, okay? And then, curiously, while on traveling to Samara, so we were traveling through Istanbul, So we flew from Saturday to Istanbul and then to Samara, and the seesaw qualifications were running at the same time. So basically, we just downloaded all the challenges before boarding the plane. We solved the challenges on the plane. As soon as we landed in Istanbul, we submitted all those flags. We downloaded the new ones, and then you just flew to Samara, and then just continue playing. So of course, there were some that were working from here. Some were not on the plane. Some were working from the Netherlands, okay? That was in Erasmus. Anyway, so we were just, our net was casted very wide. Okay, so this was the picture of the team that we went there. By the way, so you may ask, but which ones do we pick to go, right? So in this case, it was simple. So the qualifications, 7 of us participated in the qualifications. So the prize was those 7 would just go, right? And then we had some ones that could not make it, and so we made some substitutions. But anyway, so this was the team. Okay, so this was the gang in Samara. So basically, another picture. We were, oh, this is too dark. So we were preparing ourselves. This was an attack defense. So we basically carried 2 machines, 2 desktops with ourselves on the plane. So they were exactly the size limit, the hand luggage size. They were at the limit. There was just 1 centimeter off. And basically then we were just preparing in our bedroom. And then basically there's a huge number of players here. In fact, we were lucky. So going to Russia, it's not cheap. So we had sponsoring. So TechEver kindly sponsored us to go there. And so we'll always be grateful to them for this. And yeah, so what resources do we have? So you might ask, so what resources do we have? So we have a GitHub with 3 years of accumulated challenges and solutions. I don't know how many gigabytes that GitHub is now. Probably GitHub at some point will start charging us. We have a wiki for those that join. Of course, it's always a work in progress. So those that join have a wiki where they can learn. And then we just try to add new content as we have free time. We have a full week training course on binary exploitation. So we identified that this was we were very, very weak in this topic. And so last year, I convinced one of the members to do it, okay, for just to avoid the public humiliation. I will not say his name here, but he's in the audience. And so basically, he gave a full week to teach all the other colleagues. Okay, so I was expected to teach part of it, but in the end, it was so well that basically he ran the full week. So we did not do it by ourselves. So there was another team from the US, RPISec, that we got some references from. And we have, as a consequence of that, we have 50 plus challenges online on binary exploitation that you can practice. Okay. And so you might ask, I know nothing about security. Do I have what it takes? Okay. And again, to avoid public humiliation, I'll just mention here some cases, and those persons are in the audience, and if they nod, I can cast their names. Okay. If not, I'll just keep them. I'll just keep silent about them. Okay. So this person was excellent at crypto. Okay, and knew nothing about other topics. Meaning, well, he had some ideas, but he was not an expert. Okay. And after working a lot, he currently is an all-rounder, so he does everything, and he does not care about crypto anymore, which is sad, because now you are weak on crypto again. He knows it, but he just wants to learn more things, okay? So clearly, it was a person that only knew about crypto, and now it's proficient in many of the other topics. Another one, and this one probably is the most difficult one to guess who was this one. So it was a very skilled programmer. It programs everything very fast, but knew just a little bit about security. And now I think that curious cryptographer is the hint for those that know who I'm talking about. And he's a serious apprentice in other topics. What did he do? He invested a lot of times learning, okay? A lot of hours. And every time there was a crypto challenge, he never refused to do it, okay? And finally, a third profile that was someone that was not skilled enough to join the team, in his opinion, and then conducted self-study for 3 to 6 months, okay? And now is our exploitation guru. So went from knowing nothing to becoming our guru, okay? So these are just 3 profiles. And of course, we have a lot of members in our team. And what I want to stress here is that those are clearly 3 persons that invested a lot of hours to move themselves out of their comfort zone, either to learn new things or to explore some things that they already knew, okay, to extend them. Anyway, and I'm about to conclude. What I want to say is that, but this is not about CTF, okay? This is about learning, okay? And this is about learning by being challenged, okay? So this is about learning a topic that is moving very, 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 very fast, okay? For which whatever is secure today might no longer be secure tomorrow, okay? And you have to adapt to that, okay? Just see all these problems that have been issued in the beginning of January about the processors with Intel, okay? This topic, if you want, oh, where can I study? Which book can I study? There's no book, okay? There's no book. There's a lot of content online, and sometimes it's difficult to filter which one. But basically, this is mastered by reading reports of vulnerabilities and watching a lot of videos on YouTube. So every time you watch a video on YouTube about a random thing, think, why I'm not watching a video about how to do binary exploitation, okay? And this is also a topic that any person in the world can master, okay? It's really, really, these contents are available on YouTube, okay? And moreover, this is a topic that is as sensitive as it can get, okay? So you are dealing usually with private communication, bank accounts, privacy of data, okay? So this is just to mention a few. So this is not about CTF. This is about learning security. CTF is just a way to make it fun. It's just a way to have fun and to learn having fun, okay? So it's just on top of this. Okay, so you can learn about computer security while having fun. Just join us, okay? This is really a sport. So before doing CTFs, I had, let's say, a real sport, a physical sport. I had a real sport, and I had to stop it because I could just not practice both. This just takes a lot of time. Forget Mr. Robot. Oh, don't forget, you learn the concepts. But it really takes time. The guy does it just too fast, okay? And in 3 years, we moved from 0 to top 50. So the question is, how long will it take to move us to the top 20, okay? And finally, and honestly, it has been a very fulfilling experience doing this with students. I had to teach, and now I'm teaching and learning with my students. It's really, really fulfilling, it's humbling, and it's really, really a good experience having this experience to work with such a dedicated group of students. I really could not have asked for more. The only thing that I could ask is, if you want, what we need more troops, more resources, more Jedis, okay? So I think I'm done. Here is our web page. Go there. I was about to put here a link that would just run a script on your computer, but I said, no, it'd just be too much, okay? Just one final picture. So Multicert ran a CDF last September or October. 30 teams participated. This is the picture of first, third, and fourth team. So our team made fourth, third, and fourth place. So clearly, we are doing the good thing. Thank you.
So does anyone have any questions? Really? No one?
Don't want to join? Don't want my business card? No?
So if no one has any more questions, let's give a big round of applause for Pedro.